Why all the talk about September 23rd? September 23rd. Every few years, this date lights up headlines. Some call it a prophetic warning. Others say it's wild speculation. But why does this date keep returning? Why do so many link it to signs in the heavens, world events, and end-time prophecy? You will be shocked when you find out the 3 reasons September 23rd has become one of the most talked about dates in prophecy discussions. And reason by reason, the picture will become clearer than ever before. Reason 1. The 2017 Revelation 12 sign. On September 23, 2017, something happened in the sky that prophecy watchers had been talking about for years. They called it the Revelation 12 sign. Revelation 12 verse 1-2 says, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars." On that day, a rare alignment happened. The constellation Virgo appeared clothed with the sun. The moon was at her feet. 9 stars from the constellation, Leo plus the planets Mercury, Venus, and Mars, formed a crown of 12 stars over her head. The planet Jupiter had spent months in Virgo's womb area before exiting, like a birth. Astronomers calculated that this exact alignment had not happened in this way for at least 7,000 years. Was it coincidence? Or a cosmic fulfillment of John's vision? And if it was fulfillment, what comes next in the prophecy's timeline? We will answer that soon, but first, reason number 2. The Jewish feast days. September often overlaps with major biblical feast days, God's appointed times in Leviticus 23. In 2017, September 23rd fell just after the Feast of Trumpets, a feast many linked to the rapture because of Paul's words, "At the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible." 1 Corinthians 15:52. Some believe the timing was symbolic, a heavenly sign, Revelation 12, right after a feast associated with the Lord's return. If that's true, what could the next link in the chain be? Reason number 3. The number 23 in biblical patterns. In biblical numerology, numbers often have symbolic meaning. The number 23 has been connected to judgment and death in certain biblical contexts. Could this number be a divine marker pointing toward a specific, fast-approaching event? Some point out that in Psalm 23, the valley of the shadow of death appears. Others connect it to events that happened on the 23rd day of biblical months. Could the recurring number be God's way of drawing attention, or are people forcing patterns where they don't exist? And if God is drawing attention, what urgent message have we been missing all along? In Hebrew, letters have numeric values. Some prophecy researchers claim 23 is linked to words tied to judgment, though this is debated. Is this true? Every few years, a date shows up that gets everyone talking. Right now, that date is September 2025. Some are pointing to blood moons, Feast of Trumpets timelines, global politics, and economic signs. But here's the truth. There are 2 big reasons September 2025 might not be the date people think it is. And each reason will challenge assumptions you may have held for years. And if we get this wrong, it could do more damage than we realize. A wrong date can shake faith more than no date at all. What if we're looking at the right signs, but the wrong moment? Reason number 1. Prophecy doesn't give exact dates. The first reason is simple and huge. The Bible never gives a day or hour for the rapture. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Matthew 24:36. That means no calculation from feast days can guarantee the year. No political event can lock down the month. No astronomical sign can circle the day. Yes, we are told to watch for seasons. Yes, there are clues for the tribulation timeline. In 1988, a book called 88 Reasons Why the Rapture Will Be in 1988 sold 4.5 million copies. The date came and passed. Many walked away from faith because of it. If September 2025 comes and goes, will our faith go with it? Could focusing on a single month cause us to miss what God is doing right now? If we set a date and it fails, some will mock prophecy altogether. Since Jesus left, people have wanted to know exactly when he will return. Even the disciples asked him, "Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel?" Acts 1:6. But Jesus answered, "It is not for you to know the times or the seasons." Acts 1:7. Reason number 2. The events people expect might happen later. Many who focus on September 2025 are tying it to tribulation events, like the confirmation of the covenant in Daniel 9:27 or the start of the 7-year countdown. The problem? Those events may not line up the way people think. The Antichrist's rise, the rebuilding of the temple, and the global economic system may take longer to develop than a 2025 kickoff. Israel has the plans and materials ready for a third temple, but political and religious tensions make immediate construction nearly impossible, unless there's a massive world-shaking deal. Imagine expecting the final 7 years to start in September 2025. But waking up in October and realizing life feels the same. A delayed expectation can crush hearts faster than persecution. Before the second coming of Christ, these 4 signs will take place. The Bible is a history book, but it is unlike any other history book available in any public library. The history of the Bible starts with the creation of the earth and ends with the end of the world. No other history book has ever been published that covers such a broad range of events on planet Earth, partially because no one was present at the start to witness and document it, and therefore no one can write the beginning of our world authoritatively. We are the only people in the world who know how everything will end. That's unique. The Lord did not reveal the future to his followers just to satisfy their curiosity. It was to prepare them for the future so that they wouldn't be surprised when it arrived, and so that they wouldn't misinterpret it. Let's be grateful that Jesus was so open in sharing what the future holds for us. People ask, are we in the end times? However, the Bible talks of the last days, and we have been in the last days for 2,000 years. The last days started at Pentecost, where the first prophecy of the last days was fulfilled. Every Christian generation should live to be ready for the Lord's return. The Bible is a book full of predictions. Its pages contain 735 predictions about the future. A prediction can be found in 1/4 of the Bible's chapters. From beginning to end, it is basically a prophetic text, though some books focus more on predictions than others. 596 of the 735 predictions have indeed occurred and have literally come true, according to the scripture prediction. So, 81% of all Bible prophecies have already come true, and some of those prophecies were made centuries before the case. It doesn't take much confidence to believe that the remaining 19% will happen as well. That's a very high score. The Bible has proved 100% right for every prediction that could have been fulfilled by now. Of the rest, most of them are concerned with the actual return of Jesus and what follows after that. How many of these predictions remain to come true before Jesus returns? The answer is about 20, and we're watching to see those happen first, before we look for the Lord's return. Jesus told us to watch and pray. What do we watch? We cannot stand still and watch the clouds to wait for Him to appear. That is not what He meant. He meant, keep an eye on what's going on in the world and see what signs I gave you to help you prepare. Signals are the signs. So, let's look at Matthew chapter 24, where the disciples asked Him, "What will be the signs or signals of your return?" What would we do if we don't know when it's going to happen? To their inquiry, Jesus gave a direct and unambiguous answer. We can thank God that He responded in such a straightforward manner. In the book of Revelation, He gives a much more detailed and comprehensive response, but here He gives a rundown of the signs that will precede His arrival. The disciples approached Jesus secretly as He was seated on the Mount of Olives. And as He sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto Him privately, saying, "Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of Thy coming, and of the end of the world?" And Jesus answered and said unto them, "Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Now, in that passage, he gave 4 distinct signs of his coming. One of the 4 signs is already present, while the other 3 are not. That is why I say, we are at the beginning of the end times. So, what exactly are these 4 signs he gave us? The first sign of the end times is the occurrence of disasters in the world, such as wars, famines, and earthquakes. These events have been happening for over 2,000 years, but they are becoming more intense. Jesus warns us not to be deceived, as the danger of deception increases as we approach the end. There will be false Christs and false messiahs who take advantage of natural disasters to present themselves as saviors. Some have led people into tragic situations by claiming to be saviors. As problems increase, so will the number of false deliverers. However, Jesus advises us not to be alarmed or worried when we hear of new wars, tragedies, or famines. He said something astonishing. These are painful events, but they are not pangs of death. They are birth pains. So when you read about disasters in the media, these are the pains that mean something new is about to be born. This should completely change our attitude. We know what the world is coming to. We should not be alarmed or dismayed, not as worried as the world will be about these things. Disasters in the world are the pain of birth in a new world that is to be born. Therefore, we are very different. We have sympathy for those who are suffering from disasters, and hopefully, we express it by helping. But in our hearts, we are not alarmed. We are hopeful. We are looking for a new birth of a new world, and therefore, we are not dismayed or depressed by all the problems in the world. In short, Jesus' advice to us would be not to panic, not to be disturbed, but even to rejoice and say, "These are all signs of something new happening." The second sign. The second sign of his coming is not in the world, but in the church. Disasters in the world are the first sign. The church, not the world, is the second sign of his coming. The first warning is disasters around the world. The second is changes in the church. Just as he divided the first sign into three parts, wars, earthquakes, and famines, he divides the second sign into three parts, all of which occur within the church. The first is persecution, that we will be hated in every nation. The second aspect of this sign would be a significant reduction in the size of the church. Most people's love will grow cold. When the entire church is under strain, many nominal Christians, if not all true Christians, would leave. Under the burdens of universal persecution, their love would grow cold. That's a very depressing sign. The big surprise in the third part of the sign is that the gospel will be preached to every racial group. The third part of the sign is that the gospel will be proclaimed. A smaller, purified church would have a greater impact on the planet. That is exactly what Jesus is implying. Beware of false prophets who can be deceitful. They preach peace when there is no peace, offering comfort instead of challenge. They may say, "Everything is fine, don't worry, nothing bad will happen," giving false reassurance. Such false predictions may lead to many people leaving the church. Now, Jesus advises us to keep going and not to give in to false prophets. He says that whoever perseveres to the end will be saved. When the sign occurs, when all aspects of the church are despised by the world, that is Jesus' advice to all Christians. Why should that be the case? The answer is that wheat and tares grow together, and the closer they get to full maturity, the more tension there will be between them. So it's only natural that Christians will be under a lot of pressure in the end. Christians are social misfits, so there would be hatred. This world does not belong to us. Our citizenship is in the heavenly realms. We are unique, and it is because of our uniqueness that hate can arise. Since Jesus was so different from everyone else, he drew hate against himself. John 15:19, King James Version. If ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. It's not fun to be despised. Third sign. The third sign of the end times is Jerusalem's distress, which will be geographically very limited. Jesus quotes Daniel's prophecies in this passage, And there is a character in Daniel's prophecies referred to as the abomination of desolation, mentioned 3 times. This points to a human being, a man who establishes himself in the city of God, calls himself God, and refuses to accept anyone else's will above his own. This tyrant's arrival will have global ramifications, but will be centered in Jerusalem, the city of God, the holy place. In this passage, Jesus talks about the 4th sign of his coming, stating that it will occur immediately after the previous signs. This will serve as a clear indication of his imminent arrival, allowing people to be prepared. Once this sign appears, there will be no risk of being misled by false prophets or fake messiahs, as the event will happen quickly and without any deception. The sign itself involves the extinguishing of all natural light, with the sun going dark and the stars falling from the sky. These events are mentioned in several parts of the Bible as well. Isaiah predicts it. The heavens will be rolled up like a carpet. The natural light will go away, leaving only artificial light to illuminate the earth. What is happening? What is going on? People may ask. This is it, Christians will exclaim. The sun, stars, and moon will stop shining just before it happens. This signifies that God is preparing for the bright light from the lightning that will mark his return. He will come back to earth on the clouds, and we will meet him. We won't meet in an earthly stadium, because there isn't one large enough to accommodate such a large crowd. Instead, we will meet him in the air, and that will be enough. Doesn't that sound like an amazing prospect? When you see all these things, you know he is at the gates, just about to walk through, he says. In the remainder of this sermon, Jesus goes on to 3 parables, which are the wise virgins whose lamps were still burning when the bridegroom came, the foolish bridesmaids whose lamps had gone out, and the parable of the wise and foolish virgins. They had gone away to get some oil, but missed the arrival of the bridegroom and couldn't attend the wedding. Then he moved on to the parable of the talents, in which some people received 10 talents, others 5, and someone received none. The master left and returned, asking, "Now, what have you done with the talents I left with you?" "I've gained another 10, the man with 10 said. "I've gained another 5, the man with 5 said. "I haven't done anything about it," said the man who had 1. "I buried it, because I know you're a hard man, who reaps where he hasn't sown, and wants payment from me." What a horrible thing to say. We look at what Jesus said and what the Master said to him after that. The final passage is not a parable, but rather a straight prediction involving an analogy of sheep and goats. He finished that parable with dividing nations, everybody, and telling them why he divided them, because those who are on his left hand are those who ignored Christ in Christians. Insofar as they didn't help the least of these, his brothers, they were doing it not to him. But to the people on his right, he said, "You saw Christ in my brethren, and inasmuch as you did it to the least of these, my brethren, you did it to me." He is not dividing people into those who did philanthropy and those who didn't. The key is the meaning of the word brethren. When Christ said brethren, he always meant his own followers. "Go and tell my brethren that I have risen from the dead." In the teaching of Jesus, brethren is a key word. It means those who follow me. He is simply saying, whatever you have done to Christians or not done for them was done to me or for me or not for me. Their attitude toward Christ is revealed by their attitude toward Christians. and this is the principle on which they are divided. Let's consider all that we have seen in the passage. First, there is a warning that nobody has God's diary. Not even Jesus knew the date of his return. Angels didn't know it, and no human knew it. We should have a healthy ignorance of the date of his return. Nearer the time, as we watch for the signs, we will know. But of that day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father. Did you notice that one word appeared in all three parables? The parable of the home, the parable of the virgins, and the parable of the talents? The householder was a long time returning. The bridegroom was a long time coming. And the person who gave the talents was gone for a long time. He is looking for your faithfulness when he was away a long time. That is what he wants. He will say, "Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord." There will be this separation in his coming between the faithful who have continued to do what he has left them to do, those who have every day remembered that he is coming back, and who have kept to the job and endured the suffering and been his good and faithful servants, and those who, because he has not come soon, have fallen into bad ways. Their lamp has gone out, and they no longer shine for Jesus, and they have buried their talents.